sorry about that. Call dropped. But I swear I just saw him.
Well, I'm almost home now, baby, so I'm going to talk to you maybe tomorrow or the day after. Yeah?
All right. Take care, Mama.
All right, honey. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, Raven.
Hey, Mom. How are you?
Trying to take a nap. I have to go to work tonight.
Oh, okay. How you been?
I've been okay. How you been?
I've been all right. Trying to find another band. So.
Yeah. Yep. That's life.
Yeah.
That's why people work, and that's why you have to pay bills, and that's why squares like being your daddy still work.
Right. Hold on. Let me go ahead and. To mention, I'm figuring out why it's so hard for me to get anything back with Maria Tavarez. I'm going to do a full video tomorrow, including about the soul saga. It goes back to that August 21st or 22nd, 2022 timeline where basically I got, it involves the Illuminati. That shit is real. They've appeared in my timelines. I feel them taking out my entity attachments right now to try to kill me in my sleep. They keep trying to steal my Baphomet. I'm have evil shit trying to block people from seeing it. Use 694 hertz, 695 hertz to see. That shit is no joke, and it's hard to try to fight them. I had help at one point from Santa Muerte. With that being said, I'm being attacked by them in the spirit plane right now. I mean it. I'm going to say this right now. Back in 1991, I used to have recurrent dreams about being fucked with by Jay-Z. Me and a couple of other kids backstage in 1991. Mind you, he did not become, famous until 1997. If you they energy harvest and fucked up Blue Ivy, I guess. Spirit plane the same way they do me. With that being said, she was up as a sacrifice. Jay-Z is the one with the black card. She just paid $6 million. I feel I'm taking out very, very pivotal parts. With that being said, this is something that's very, very, I noticed when I started going after that, so I was able to get, a lot of my stuff back. And that bitch became ultra powerful. With that being said, I thought that connoted to being raped. Really, what that dream, again, this was a recurrent astrovision, I call it, going back to 1991. He did not become famous with Big Pippin until 1997. Make a long story short, he did not rise to power, become prominent until 1997. And, I mean, for what I understand, that connoted to him stealing me and my family's stealing my blessings, me and those kids' blessings. That's what rape correlates to in the spirit plane, is somebody stealing your blessings. I've had that numerous times happen. And I was able, in some instances, fight back. Make a long story short, these motherfuckers, I've heard that they put demons on me or something and all of that, trying to get back into my body because I got soul swapped. From what I understand, going back to that August 21st, 22nd, 2022 timeline, my brother Kristen got sacrificed by Prince Andrew. I'm going to sound like a schizophrenic when I say this, but I don't care. Again, those timelines are real. I've felt them. I've connected to them. There was something else I wanted to say that's crucial, that connotes to those timelines, to their existence. But, I'm just going to say it right now. Having my parents, pop up in dreams, like going back to May the 1st, 2024, something happened with these people I'm about to show you. I got taken out of body. I've had dreams about my parents appearing as demons. When the curse first started, when I was staying at the manor, my parents would appear. My parents would appear as what they call it? They would appear in my visions, and they would be talkative in them. That's oftentimes a sign that they're not in their body. And I've had numerous dreams, nightmares, where they weren't in their body. I had a nightmare, an astral vision really, where, there was a light-skinned lady. I think that was part of my bloodline, Marie Laveau. Then it fast forwarded into me being in, a place where, what they call that? It's full of, I saw Birdman and Lil Wayne, and they were touching all over me. I heard in that timeline, that's what they do to my soul swap self. And that's what they do to soul swap people. It's kind of like an initiation to prove it ain't the other body by degrading them in that body. And I was in a record studio. Mind you, I have no ambitions to do recording ever. I can see acting, but not that. And from what I understand, this connoted, fuck my road spirits and all that. With that being said, from what I understand at that time, I got 2 kids with Lil Wayne. It's a lot that I'm being made to forget that, it's a lot that's in that timeline. It's a lot, and this is some very, very hyper, very, very hyper evil ass sadistic shit that I'm facing. Make a long story short, I remember when I snatched my Baphomet back, which they were using to do a lot of evil things, use 694, 695 hertz C, and keep me under heavy curses like they've been doing with it. That's why me and my spirit team, what little I got left, use 694, 695 hertz C, keeping us under heavy curses. With that being said, the first person whose consciousness, just like with Maria Tavarez, they place you in people's consciousnesses that my parents were placed into was Jay-Z. And then at one point, Rihanna, he was removed from there, I think, after a while. Then Jay-Z, Sean Corey Carter is his real name. That's when she became hyper powerful. And I wanted to mention, too, this article actually connoted to recording artists I would later meet. People like Clive Davis, Tommy Mottola in the spirit plane, Barry Gordy. I heard that some women I was fighting in American Mafia walking around topless. It was a white bitch and a fucking nigga bitch was actually his daughters or something. I think adopted MK. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Some real hyper powerful shit. But here it is. Right? The one that shows the Lake Forest Mall that I grew up in New Orleans East, I heard that was Maria Tavarez or Parafin's office, her house in the Illuminati, which is, that's how low they think of Mexicans. They don't like y'all because I'm going to say something right now. You're protected by Quetzalcoatl. That's y'all demiurge. They can't fuck with you. That's why a lot of you ain't stars. That's why, what's his name? George Lopez ain't no sellout. They hate y'all for that. They can't control y'all because y'all Quetzalcoatl is, whatchamacallit. Our demiurge, is Yoda Bale, yay, black. The original was actually Aladamari. I want to do a longer video talking about that tomorrow. I felt the power. I felt everything tonight. Everything started to come back. I was at what they call that shelter, the New Testimonial Love Center, when it was me and Santa Muerte and all of them. The real Santa Muerte herself trying to battle that shit. You 694695 hertz to see. Some evil ass motherfucking shit. Anyways. Them Lil Wayne and all of that came out the blue trying to get their shit. Make a long story short, that article connoted to me meeting those record execs, and that was them in the spirit plane. And, again, I didn't know that at the time. I remember having visions of being in a huge penthouse, above the fucking sky and having my fucking blessings robbed left and right by, what they call them, one of the people was Patti LaBelle, who was taking my shit. I liked her song that she made in the 90s, the 80s, If Only You Knew. And I'm going to say something right now. I learned in the spirit plane, the minute you sign a fucking whatchamacallit contract, this is why getting into movies is a lot better than doing music. If you want to do music, you're better off just, doing YouTube and all of that. I'm all about giving power to the people. I don't believe in fucking with no Illuminati, and that's why me and my spirit team at, New Testimonial Love Center, it was right on Western or something, not that far from Avalon. Make a long story short, that's why, that's when they got our shit, that's when we got our shit back, to get up from under that, trying to get rid of curses, period, with the said the word they shit on top of that, and this Maria Tavarez Parafin shit. She was nowhere near as powerful as she was when she got on with them people. Make a long story short, we were trying to get our shit back. And make a long story short, yeah, I started getting a lot of my consciousness back battling them. So it all makes sense. It's all coming together. That's why it was impossible to get that woman. There was something I wanted to mention. When I was over at New Testimonial, it was damn near next to impossible. It was damn near next to impossible to get my shit back. I remember, all the motherfuckers coming out, trying to come after me, trying to attack and all of that. Trying to make me a sacrifice in the spirit plane, and they recruited what they call it, Maria Parafin, for them timelines to keep me out. Again, it's real. Very, very real. I'm trying to think of, I've done an article on being soul swapped and all of that, how it's real. It's a very, very real timeline. You can use 1248 hertz. They're going to probably try to use those rose spirits to help me to, usurp their asses, remove them and all that. Use 1248 hertz, in timelines that ain't the real one. Use 1248 hertz to defeat them. 3002 hertz really is effective at getting your shit back, along with 295 hertz, which through Maria Tavarez they were able to block, which is very, very effective. 295 and combined with 695 hertz and 1715 hertz, which teleports. I'm trying to think of frequencies that could teleport shit when stuff is another motherfucker's, grasp. With that being said, this is very, very fucking real. I remember one day waking up at New Love Testimonial Center and, seeing that I got, seeing that, at the shelter they had families staying there. And, like another shelter that I've been staying, I've been staying in a spate of shelters since 2022, since the soul swap. If you feel me, make a long story short, um, make a long story short, they told me that they weren't, taking anything but families in at a certain time. They didn't have protocol like that. It was just everybody comes in at 8 a.m., you get your food, which is depressing to say the least, then you waltz out. With that being said, there was another time where, I heard it was something Queen Elizabeth manipulating that, heard Maria Tavarez, but it was Queen Elizabeth or something. And I had a dream about it the next day. And there was something else where there was a... Anyways, they can't fuck with the Mexicans and all that because your demiurge is different. Same thing with the Muslims and all of that. Yeah, Allah, who I worked with before, I manipulated some in the spirit plane where I got everybody put back on the gold standard. To see how things would be, got rid of them. Very, very different. So they can't fuck with your Allah. That's another demiurge. Demiurge connotes the material realm God. With that being said, they out there purview along with the Olympians. They're out there purview. They can control, I believe, the Orishas and all of that, the voodoo lowers and all that, because they under the demiurge of everybody else, which is Yodabeo with hair of gold, skin of bronze. They ain't like y'all because they were, yeah. Hair, wool, skin of bronze. Who's Yodabeo? That's the lion face motherfucker. That's the lion face. have the face, simultaneous face of a dragon and the face of a human. You know, they've gotten to the point where they've almost been able to control my consciousness, but I'm trying to fight that off with them. You know, it's some type of deal that was made with my original fucking God with these evil motherfuckers, and that put me under heavy oppressive, damn near MK Ultra curses for a long time. I was supposed to be a child prodigy, and I heard that Lil Wayne, you know, notice how there's a lot of comedians and all that. There's talk of that come from there. I'm from New Orleans myself. A lot of people think I look like them, and there's, I think, a pharaoh. It was not a Kenaton. The Kenaton looked like Baron Samedi when he was alive, and they've been trying to fucking destroy him and everything. You know, it's some high level fucking evil ass sadistic shit. I'm trying to think. But anyways, you know, I want to talk about it more in depth tomorrow. I'm going to do a card reading, you know, move on with that. Because, you know, I was able to get, you know, other shit back that I couldn't get by just going after Maria Tavarez Parafin when I worked with Aphrodite, Diana, the Pantheon of Olympians. Thor ain't in their purview. That's my boy. He's like Ogun. He's part of the Brotherhood of Hammers, like here. Oh wow, man! I think I saw something look like Baron Samedi stuck in the hell realm. He's part. Y'all saw that? Now let's say you can see shit in the mirror and all that. That's kind of fucking creepy. Y'all saw that shit? Torturing that man, using Maria Tavarez, paraffin and all that, stealing his soul consciousness and all that. Anyways, with that being said, I think I might have help from the article issue with that shit, just to break curses, because we were dealing with this shit with Maria Tavarez and all that. Anyways, the thing with the Illuminati is they're under the material realm God along with the Baphomet. The Baphomet, you know, from what I've seen, just collects your breath when you're about to die. That's all he does. He represents your primordial darkness. I got, you know, his whatchamacallit right here. Told my mom or something was trying to come through that mirror one fucking night. Spooky ass motherfucker. I'm trying to find something real quick. That was weird. Then I mentioned Illuminati, that's when shit started getting hot. Y'all saw that shit on the right side? It appeared like a human. Something on the right side of me. I just saw that too. I'm with this shit that I got. Telling the dude on the bus the other day, man. It's heavy shit that I got. I almost sound like Lil Wayne talking. Fucking tired. Make a long story short, that shit looking out the window. This is some horrible shit, you know. It's like with Maria Tavarez having hoarding all my shit I've been trying to get at all day. At one point I could, until the Illuminati got involved. make a long story short, the thing with them is that they're under, I believe, the demiurge as well, which is our material realm god. I know they're under the god of darkness, and they also have a place in the spirit plane. I think it's on Broadway downtown by a bike shop. Called Gita's, where it's like that film Hostel and shit, and they do all sorts of evil shit to people. I almost feel like the ICE, well, I want to talk more about them. ICE raised the wearing MAGA head and shit, and, yeah, the motherfucking wetbacks calling us Mayate and all that, but what I saw in the spirit plane and what I'm seeing now, that shit just, I saw that coming months ago. I wanted to talk about that. I don't think that shit right. There was something else I saw with that. Plenty of things that I saw coming to fruition with all that shit. But anyways, I can't, I'm gonna say one thing right now. I can't believe that shit is actually coming to fruition. Anyways, the thing with them is that they under the demiurge. You gotta get under the god of light to usurp them. And I'm gonna also say this as real. They cannot touch the Egyptian pantheon. When you see them doing that one-eyed symbolism, they trying their best to capture their power, and that's because them motherfuckers don't bow down to the reptilian aspect. It's a lot I want to talk about with them, consciousness, all that. It's a lot of esoteric knowledge. But make a long story short, they basically are not, they don't operate on a lower plane. The Egyptians, the Dudaks, and all that created our universe. Them motherfuckers come from something higher than the source. Isis and all of them. From a higher plane. They want to be like them, but they cannot. They under their creation. The demiurge is their creation. I'm going to say that right now. That's why black people magic is so much more powerful. Because our shit, is the blueprint for everything. In the sense, the Mexicans, their shit can't be touched by them because they shit was created by motherfuckers that ain't under all that demiurge bill shit. But ours is the blueprint for everything and is outside of them. On top of that, they're the motherfuckers that created all the shit. So you can't touch the motherfuckers that created you. Your creation can't become your creator, and vice versa. That's why they can't fuck with. I've held help with Anubis, Yemeya, Oshun, and all that. Anubis, Ra, Isis, who's supposed to be part of my dad's bloodline. Look at this article here I did years ago. This is some weird shit. Hold on a second. I just saw claws right there. I'm so used to seeing weird shit. It's probably my dad from that timeline. Y'all saw that shit? I saw that shit in an attempt to try to intimidate me, but that's probably one of my spirits they probably fucked over and shit I don't like. I just saw claws, and you don't see that anymore. That's really fucking bizarre. I'm looking away, poor baby. I gotta do something about this shit, because this is just, I'd never asked for this shit. This is just too heavy. Being pulled into Maria Tavarez's hell realm, she using Santa Muerte and all this shit, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with Santa Muerte and her. But to make a long story short, yeah, y'all saw that? I just saw that. I'm so used to seeing fucking spirits that don't even faze me anymore. Them motherfuckers are above them. And from what I understand, sorry. Keep hearing that the Illuminati wants to put me direct under them. I remember they were taking pieces of my consciousness some months back. And I think they may have my fucking highest self. They were using Maria Tavarez to get rid of her. That can fuck you up if somebody gets rid of the highest self. That's very, very dangerous. It's supposed to be a Jewish ancestor, and that's on the spirit plane, the Rothschilds and all that connecting to her. But anyways, the Egyptian pantheon is out their purview. They can't even touch him. And with that said, they stay attacking. It's something about setting me up as a prostitute for him and keeping me under tight control. It's something about the incarnation of He, I don't know. I think a lot of it connotes back to just trying to, get back into my body with the soul swapping. With that being said, from what I understand, they made a deal with Maria Tavarez in the August 21st, 22nd, 2024 timeline, 22 timeline. I've had a lot of timelines executing and all of that to keep me out that motherfucker. And they've been using the demiurge and all that shit coming at me. Using, being under his purview. That's why you don't want to be under any of that. You want to be under the source. You don't want to be under anything to be able to escape it. They don't, when I learned about God and all that, they don't call that the moon industrial complex for nothing. With that being said, that's how they're able to keep a tight lid over humanity and do a lot of evil, fucked up things. I heard that part of this curse happened, and I got cursed back in Miracle Mile in 2016 because I spoke a lot about the, demiurge and the iniquities he's done. I learned a lot about, the true Jesus Christ. He actually was, in fact, black. This connotes to it. And that man was a sacrifice. That's why I never wear crosses wearing Ankh. Because an Ankh is circular and life-giving. Um, Whenever you wear a cross, it renders you a sacrifice. Like the hangman tarot, that's a sacrifice. So I don't fuck with crosses. Earl Burroughs, number 8, favorite number. Burton, anyway. Uh, that gives you life. With that being said, and I heard something too about Zendaya being given a black card by the Illuminati for sacrificing me as he or something. You gotta get, there's different ways to get a black card, turn people into entity attachments. Selena Gomez does that shit, who are enemies of them, who are threats to them. All sorts of shit. With that being said, because those are some evil motherfuckers. I don't like what they've done to my family. I don't like what they've done to my people. I remember the day I got taken out of my body. It was no motherfucking joke, and I tried to get back in. I remember seeing it through my third eye, so I know for a fact that shit is real. I know it, and I'm alone to get back. And I heard through the Illuminati they placing obstructions on your body. Again, I heard that, that's why they set me up to have blessings I wasn't supposed to have access to, and was supposed to make me a sacrifice. These nigga bitches, 3-Leg Wire, Lizando Salazar, got some of it. who was a sacrifice. You know, I cry when I see that timeline. When I see my brother, Carrie, I live with it every single day. That's why, I got one fucking considered to be an entity attachment coming at me talking, sexual shit. I know I'm not in my timeline. I know something ain't right. I look at Trump, that guy, the original, the entity attachment, this shit. The original, his entire agenda was to bring about open borders, but where we're, just like I experienced with our lot, we're placed back on the gold standard. And it just felt gold. It felt heavenly when we were. It was like peace and equality, egalitarianism. Like my original timeline, we were getting over stereotypes. We actually had the original black sun in our timeline, where I'm from, when I used to live on the east. Here the colors are, it's Earth is close, and a lot of timelines close, Earth is close to the underworld, so it's dimmed, grayscale, kind of like dimly lit. And the colors are, I don't want to say obfuscated, but they're dim, very dim compared to where I'm from. Y'all didn't have the astral colors that we had before I got taken out. And then they're insanity in so many ways. Who's part of my bloodline, who they gone after. I was shown it with the rose spirits and everything. That shit with the Illuminati is real, and they tried taking their asses out. They tried their best, but when they under the God of our world, they think it's sane, but it really ain't. It's demiurge. It's demiurge and what's the other motherfucker's name? The Baphomet, but I don't think the Baphomet is an autonomous entity. That's when you have problems. With that being said, that's why I keep getting taken out of my timelines and all of that. So I'm just going to say 1248 hertz, combine it with any of them frequencies to make it more effective. I was using 2160 hertz at one point. 1248 hertz combined with 1715 hertz or 295 hertz or 295 hertz and 695 hertz to get stuff back. I've been trying assiduously, belligerently to get my poor dad back and my parents. I've seen them suffer in the spirit plane, and it hurts to have to deal with something, a pain that other people cannot fucking see. That shit's real. I wonder if they're the ones that disabled my ability. This is Maria Parafin to play 960 hertz. This article where I state I got powerful entities, enemies after me. I remember having dreams of being shown with a Rothschild's tape people, the various entities they use. One thing that looks like venom and all of that. It's horrible. Don't make a deal with them. Don't get into music because the contract, without it saying explicitly anything, this is what happened with Kanye West and all that. That's how they were able to soul swap him. Kodak Black, who I heard was sitting in poverty. Make a long story short, they're going to soul swap your ass. If they don't like it, they're going to deport your ass like they're doing these Mexicans in the country. And I don't like what I see coming with that. And I want to talk about that. Yeah, I talk shit about them and all that. But I don't like what I saw coming months back. And I wanted to talk about it. But this thing with Maria Tavarez has been hindering my ability to do so. Because my consciousness gets so fucked up, not realizing it's the Illuminati that's been doing that shit. Very, very interesting, stuff I want to talk about. But anyways, I was warned by an Illuminati reptilian about these timelines. And from what I understand, they actually had some pity towards me. They had high selves at one point. I don't know how true it is. Because they saw, it's kind of like what I learned in the spirit plane. A couple of days ago, I was conversing with a kid from a more dystopian timeline where race relations were terrible, especially between blacks and Mexicans. Where I'm from, people were starting to get over misogynistic stereotypes especially, and they were starting to take on the more enlightened, illuminated consciousness towards black and white folks and everybody in between, and male and female. It was a lot better. It wasn't like, men are, stuck at looking at women from a reptilian, primal aspect and being forced into it. We were our spirit, our soul, humans, and we took responsibility for the shit that we do. And, people, even organic portals, were becoming more individualistic, I call them. But from what I understand, they took pity because, unlike Kanye West, this is why I brought that up, I actually saw a better timeline. That kid never had the luxury of seeing it. It was Mexican. With that being said, it's the same thing for me, in the eyes of the Illuminati. Kanye West had his day. Kodak Black had his fame. Adele had her fame. It's depressing what's going on with him. They got her, to show she got soul swapped to manifest it to them. She with a black dude. She actually likes white men, just like I do. Knows the Swedish past life. And here's an article talking about she's haunted in her house. Do a longer video tomorrow, so I'm going to wrap this up. With that being said, here's 2 videos connoting to me being soul swapped at the end. I remember my mother's voice changing right before all of this went down. Her consciousness being different, her forgetting my brother's name. That's just evidence that can be incontrovertible. It's incontrovertible. They haven't been in their bodies for a long time. None of them. And they all got woke out of their bodies in their timeline by the evil bitch I got, a Renee Wellinger or Ashley Terrell. It's depressing. And I live with trauma. Rose Spears, they torture me because they've been helping me out, and I hear the poor baby saying, please. I saw them in the spirit plane, with Maria Tavarez, Parafin, or whatever, torturing them babies. I live with that pain. I wear that shirt. I had people I didn't over my head, noticing, hey, it's a beautiful shirt, like the MAGA hat, but I wear it to protect my crown chakra because of what I'm dealing with. And I started wearing this shirt for a reason. And it's spiritual protection. From what I understand, they gave them permission, them and the Dubbick and all of that, to use the entity attachments. So, keep me out that timeline. It's one of the most evil ass shit. And from what I understand, they saw what I have, or should have, and was using her and to clean my ass out because of her desire to want to pursue fame. And from what I understand, she in telenovelas on Univision and all of that, working as a maid in some rich people's homes, doing tarot readings. I just, I saw her with Santa birthday and all of that. I just know shit started to go up and up for her when she got on board with him, and got a house with him that's fashioned after Lakeside Mall, Lake Forest Mall in New Orleans, I grew up in. It's a video that speaks to my soul swapping right before August the 7th, 21st or 22nd, 2022 at the Banner, Pico Boulevard in Santa Monica. Alright, I really need y'all help. Barbara Raina and them, they're planning on replacing my soul with that of one of the people in their covens in the astral. Her name is Rosie. And she already replaced my ancestral bloodline, which starts like from up here where your DNA is. And, I'm starting to remember stuff that's not my memories and all of that. So, please, help, because, this is frightening. All right, let me show y'all something. This is very weird. This video gets taken down, called They Can't Replace My Soul. And, it gets taken down for sex and nudity policy, some bullshit like that. Not saying it's been removed for being too long. So let me show y'all the video. Didn't take my clothes off once.